Is your B2B sales team not performing to the level that you expected this year and you're looking to make a change next year? I'm Kyle Mylan, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do in less than 10 minutes. All right, step number one, we have to assess the damage. Now, I have worked with numerous B2B sales companies, whether they are a small team of 3 to 5 to enterprise level, and I always see the same things over the last 10 to 15 years, and it's all about measuring performance first. We got to see what you have underneath that hood. So if I walked into your organization right now and said, I'm going to assess your sales team, you're paying me to come in as an outside consultant. I'm going to say, show me the data. And if you're not tracking the data, it's very hard to make decisions because there's no data to track and support those decisions. Then it's somewhat of an educated guess. You have to first measure the performance of the sales team and figure out those KPIs. So if you've been doing this for a while and your sales team has been out there for years and years and years doing it, then hopefully you've got some sort of measurement system in place. And I'm not saying that I'm here to change all of your KPIs, metrics, and be like, okay, from this point forward, we can start to measure. But really what you're looking at is input versus outcome. So what are they doing every single day? And what are they getting in a return from that every single day? So they're doing activities, whether it's going to trade shows, cold calls, cold visits, going to industry events, associations, etc. They're spending their time somewhere every single day. And then what is the outcome of that time that's spent? So if you really want to measure the effectiveness, you have to say, I'm going to break these into categories and say, if you've got somebody making cold calls, which we have numerous clients where a handful of salespeople are like, dude, cold calls work. And I'm like, they can work, but let's look at the effectiveness of it. You got people that are making cold calls. Are you tracking the input of those cold calls? So how many? And then the outcome of those cold calls, what actually happened? So if somebody makes 100 phone calls, what's the outcome of it? How many people did they talk to? How many people did they leave voicemails for? And what was the connection rate? And then from there, what came from those calls? If I made 100 calls and I got one lead and that lead turned into a deal, great. But if I make 1,000 calls and I get no leads, or I get 2 leads and they're not the right fit and they don't become a deal for you, then it's not great. And I'm not saying that you can make a decision based off of 100 calls or 1,000. Like statistically speaking, you have to have enough volume and data there to support it. But you can get some indication of, is this a best use of my person's time? So you first have to set up some sort of measurement system. But I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to say, show me what you got. Let me see the activity levels on all of the salespeople and the outcomes. So I want to know how many deals have they generated, at least quoted, and opportunities have they brought to the table, and then how many of those have they closed? Because you can start to look at it and say, maybe it's not a person issue, it's a process issue where they're getting the initial activity, but they can't move them from an actual deal to a converted one deal. So maybe it's just a closing issue that you have, but you have to look at it and say, how many different areas are they focusing their attention on? What's the outcome of those areas, conversion to a deal or an opportunity? And then from there, how many of those deals and opportunities are they converting into actual one business? Measure first, and then look at the cuts you want to make afterwards. Now, there isn't a single sales team in B2B that I've walked into that I have not initially looked at and been like, you could probably cut 25 to maybe 35% of your sales team and not even miss anything about activity or outcomes. That's pretty common. And it's strictly because people are not measuring those systems and holding the team accountable. You've got a salesperson, a boss in place and like, hey, do these things. And the team's like, yeah, I'm going to do those things. And they're doing those things, but you're not tracking the effectiveness. You're not holding them accountable to, are they actually generating deals for you and revenue? And then eventually you're like, no, we're going to keep going. And before you know it, it's been 1 to 2 years and that person should have been cut. So initially, when I look at any sales team, there's a high likelihood that I would come in and say, I'm going to cut 25% of them. You're not going to skip a beat. You're not going to see a reduction in your activity. You're not going to see a reduction in your outcome. And if anything, you're going to save the money to invest into other areas. Step number 2 is you have to build a system. So you can have the greatest sales team, but if the system is broken that they're feeding these people into, then you're really wasting your time and spinning your wheels. So if you came in and said, hey, look, this year wasn't great, so I'm going to take this person's advice and I'm going to cut part of my people based on the activity. They're just not working out. They can go find a different job next year. Before you just go and replace that person, you have to make sure and look at your system and say, is my system set up to be able to handle it? So if you have 3, 5, 20 salespeople and you want to get rid of 25% of them, then spend the time and maybe even the money in building a better system for them to work out of, work through, and bring leads into. So the top of funnel, everything, the salesperson gets a lead, brings them in the top of the funnel. How is that person working through the funnel? Is it high drag to where there's lots of areas where they can get kicked out of the funnel and not become a customer? Or is it low drag to where just everything flows seamlessly? They come in, there's a set process of discovery where you're learning about what the customer's problems are. you're offering up a solution, the quoting methods that you're using, what tool are you using for quoting? Are you using 3 different systems, 5 different systems out there? Can you consolidate it all into one, like with HubSpot? Quote through it. It's easy and fast to quote, and where it's taking you like 2 minutes, and then send the quote, and then you can automate the follow-up. If you don't have a system like that where the lead comes in and flows through something similar, then you're going to have issues as you scale. So you can have 100 salespeople on your team, but if the bottleneck is that funnel and is the system that you have, then it's best to fix that first. HubSpot can solve most of the problems. There's other tools out there. And if you're using one, I'm not saying switch to HubSpot, but I'm saying that you really need to investigate and say, like, how fast can we create quotes? What are the bottlenecks? Is it a person issue, a process, a system? Do we have everything set up correctly to make this low drag flowing through the funnel? And can I measure and track all the performance and all the different metrics along the way, to where it's like, how many quotes did I do, and how many of those were with this service or this product, and the dollar amount and the time frame to close, and how many days did it stay in a certain pipeline stage? And then from there, as things happen with the salesperson, they're super busy. Can you then say, like, hey, while you're busy handling these new leads, I'm going to do some automation to make sure that this pipeline stays clean, and I'm managing the pipeline to keep getting that person touches. Even when they ghost you, you're still going to go after and touch them. And that's where you want to make sure that this system is in place. And the last area is going to be, now it's time to fill that funnel. So after you've already measured the performance and possibly cut part of your team, you spend a little bit of time, and you could do this in 60 or 90 days building the system, especially if you partner with an agency like ours. We can build the system in 60 to 90 days, prove it out, everything's running smoothly. Now it's time to fill the funnel. Most salespeople, unfortunately, out there in B2B, are like waiting for marketing to bring them leads. And as I've said for years, marketing bringing leads to a salesperson, that's like a bonus. The salesperson's job is to go and generate revenue for their company. They need to be doing some outbound activity. Now, can they lean on the marketing team for certain information? Like, hey, can I get a better list of people to cold call? We do that all the time for customers, where we're going to build a list of people to go after. We've got some going cold email marketing, some going cold calling. We're going to meet in the middle, make sure that everything flows smoothly. But leaning on marketing is one thing. Relying on marketing is something completely different. So if you have salespeople who are like, dude, I'm just waiting, like I'm doing all these things, I'm not getting much activity, then they're not the right person that's going to be hunting and be aggressive. You need hunters in sales, not farmers. Farmers are meant for inside salespeople. The account is one, it's now a house account. They're now going to ship the part, offer the service, etc. Those are inside salespeople that are there to cultivate that relationship. Your outside salespeople, the hunters, should go and do whatever's necessary, whether it is building up their profile on LinkedIn and sending connection requests, doing cold visits, cold calls, cold emails themselves, going and visiting companies, creating literature, going to trade shows, doing association events, whatever it's necessary for them to go and get business, because their lives depend on it, their livelihood depends on it. Then you need to make sure that that person's a good fit for the company, and that's what they're doing. So from the marketing aspect, filling the funnel, you need marketing going out and doing hard outbound marketing, not just waiting for people to find you. Hard outbound marketing with email, with paid media, bringing people into the funnel by first getting attention. Once you get the attention, how are you hooking them? Once you hook them into the funnel, how are you going to cultivate that relationship and convert that name on a piece of paper or a lead into an actual qualified lead for your salespeople to go after? Even on the marketing side, which is really their job to fill a funnel, we work with those teams and do a lot of the work for our clients. You have to try different methods. And most of the time when we get in with a new client, we look at what they're doing from a marketing standpoint, and they're missing part of the core activities of outbound. They're just like, yeah, we create content, we put it on the site, and then we have a call to action and people fill it out. And then we hope that they ask for an RFQ, or we're ranking on Google and we're hoping that they search and all this stuff. It's a lot of like hoping and wishing and waiting for people to come to them, versus my mentality is let's go aggressive on the outbound standpoint. So if marketing's doing outbound strong with cold, with social, with paid, and then salesperson's going outbound strong with walking trade shows, going to events, doing cold calls, cold emails themselves. Don't just rely on the marketing team. Write up your own emails, leave messages, LinkedIn network building, LinkedIn messages, commenting on pages of companies you want to do business with on LinkedIn, messaging people that are decision makers or influencers, building out that network. That's what should be happening on both sides. So marketing needs to be focusing hard on cold, while inbound marketing is just doing its thing. And the salesperson is hunting and focusing on it to bring people into the top of the funnel, go through the system, measure the performance results, and make adjustments after that. So now that I gave you all those solutions that you can look at in under 10 minutes, I hope that you share this with one person that you know if you got value out of the content. Hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a connection request, or give me a follow. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on notifications so that way you get notified of all the new videos that we're posting out there, and I'll see you on the next one.